When you think about wine, your mind probably goes to these ancient vineyards, traditions that are centuries old. But what if a grape wasn't just discovered, but was actually invented? Well, today we are uncorking the incredible story of Rebo, a grape that's much more of a modern marvel than it is an ancient relic.
Just for a second, imagine you're a scientist and you've got a mission to build the perfect grape from the ground up. What traits would you pick? Maybe the gorgeous aromas of one grape, but with the rugged toughness of another? Well, that exact question is pretty much how this whole story got started.
Okay, so let's get right into it. To really understand the Rebo grape, we have to go back, way back, to the very beginning, to a specific moment in time, a particular place, and one inventor with a really brilliant idea. Picture this. It's 1929, and we're in Trentino, Italy, at an agricultural institute. Our guy, Professor Rebo Rigatti, wasn't just playing around in a lab for kicks. No, he was on a serious quest to solve a very real problem that winemakers were facing at the time. This is where you can really see the genius of his plan. On one hand, you've got Merlot. Everybody knows Merlot, right? It's famous for that refined quality, those beautiful aromas. And on the other hand, you have Teroldego, a local powerhouse, super tough, vigorous, and great at fighting off diseases. Rigatti's goal was simple, really: combine the best of both. So what you've got to understand is that the Rebo grape is the direct result of that experiment. It worked. It got that aromatic elegance from its Merlot parent and that tough, rustic resilience from its Teroldego parent. It's basically a designer grape, built from the start for both amazing quality and survival. But, inventing the grape was really just the beginning of the story. Now, we're going to follow its journey from the moment it's grown in the soil all the way until it ends up in the bottle. Like any great grape, Rebo is a little bit picky about where it lives. It really loves a temperate climate, so think warm, sunny summers that help the fruit get perfectly ripe, followed by cold winters so the vines can get some rest. And for the soil, it wants something fertile that drains well, like clay. That way, it gets all the nutrients it needs without its roots getting soggy. And this slide really shows you how that transformation from grape to wine happens. It all starts with a super careful harvest, usually by hand, to make sure only the best grapes get in. Then comes fermentation. This is where yeasts do their magic, eating up the sugar and creating alcohol and all those amazing aromas. And finally, you've got aging. This is where the wine develops its personality, either in oak barrels for some extra complexity and spice, or in steel tanks to keep it fresh and fruity. All right, we've talked history, we've talked science. Now for the part I know you've been waiting for. When you finally pour a glass of this stuff, what does this designer grape wine actually smell and taste like? This chart is a fantastic snapshot of what you'll find in the glass. As you can see, the biggest piece of the pie is red fruits. We're talking cherry and raspberry. But it's so much more than that. You also get these beautiful darker notes of blackberry, some delicate floral hints like violet, and even a little kick of spice like black pepper. It's just a wonderfully complex aroma. And the taste? Well, this description really nails it. When it says soft tannins, that just means it's smooth in your mouth, not harsh or drying. Good acidity means it's refreshing and lively. And that persistent finish, that's the best part. It means that delicious flavor hangs around long after you've taken a sip. So, what do you eat with a bottle of Rebo? Well, because it's so balanced, it's a dream to pair with the food. Think classic Italian dishes. It's just perfect with grilled red meats, any kind of pasta with a rich tomato sauce, or even a simple margherita pizza. It also goes beautifully with some medium cheeses or a nice charcuterie board. So even though Rebo was born and raised in Italy, its story definitely didn't stop there. Because it's so resilient and makes such high-quality wine, it's become a bit of a world traveler. Let's take a look at where this grape has decided to put down some new roots. So, no surprise, Italy, especially its home turf of Trentino, is still the heartland for Rebo. But look at this next one, Brazil. It's a huge and still growing producer. It might seem random, but the climate there in the Serra Gaúcha region is actually a lot like northern Italy. And you can see it starting to pop up in other places too, like Argentina and even the US. Now, this is what's so cool about wine. The exact same grape can taste totally different depending on where it's grown. The Italian Rebo often has more structure, with those classic spicy and floral notes really shining through. The Brazilian version, on the other hand, is usually made to be younger and fresher. It's all about that bright acidity and a big burst of fruit flavor right up front. So what's next for this modern classic? Well, the future's looking pretty bright. It's all about two main things right now: sustainable farming to keep the vineyards healthy for the long run, and really innovative winemaking to see what else Rebo can do. Winemakers are exploring everything,
so the possibilities are wide open.
Which really just leaves us with one final thought. Here we have a grape that was literally designed for both quality and resilience, that expresses itself differently all over the world, and that, let's be honest, is still pretty unknown to a lot of wine lovers. It really makes you wonder, could Rebo be one of the last great hidden gems out there, just waiting to be discovered?